Good morning, class. Happy Tuesday. So today in math, we're going to start right away into our textbooks, okay? So take a minute and get those out. We're on page 52 today, okay? So we're just going to take some time and continue analyzing line graphs using these two. Okay, we're going to look at number 1 and number 2 together and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so let's look at this. So number 1 says the line graph shows the number of people in a supermarket by the hour from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. Use the graph to answer the questions which follow. Okay, so we can see it gives us our scale for the number of people and it's going up by 50. And then it's each hour, as it said, from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. Okay, so we don't know the exact number of people at any given time. It's just giving us a marker for each hour, just so you know, just to keep that in mind. Okay, so for example, the data point at 5 o'clock says there was 50 people in the store. So that means that like a total of 50 people came into the store between 4 and 5 o'clock. Okay, so let's look at our questions. What was the increase in the number of people from 7 p.m. till 8 p.m.? Okay, so in order to figure this out, we need to find our 7 p.m. dot, which is 125. Okay, so you can tell that because it's between 100 and 150, and there's our dot. Okay, and the 8 o'clock dot is at 200. Okay, and we can see that it's right on the line. So the difference is 75 people, right? Because we go from 125 to 200. So that's 75 people, 75 more people between 7 and 8. Okay? So then, what was the decrease in the number of people from 8 p.m. till 9 p.m.? So now we're starting at this dot, which we know is 200, and we're going to the next hour, which we track across and see that it's on the 100 line. Okay? So that means our decrease is 100 people, okay? Because there's 200 at 8 o'clock and 100 at 9 o'clock, okay? So you see how that works? So let's look at number 2 together. The line graph shows the weekly sales of furniture made by a company during a 4-week trade fair. Use the graph to answer the questions which follow. Okay, so now we look at our scale and it's huge, okay? The amount in dollars goes up by 50,000. So we have 100,000, 200,000, and 300,000. Okay, so, and we see that each week is marked. That's our scale for the bottom, and there's only 4 points. Okay, so the weekly sales decreased from $200,000 in the 3rd week to $50,000 in the 4th week. What was the decrease? So it's asking for the value of this line. And the value of that, the decrease, is 150,000, right? Because we go from 200,000 down to 50,000. So it's decreasing by 150,000. Okay, the next question is, what was the average weekly sales? So we're bringing average into graphing, okay? So we know that to find the average, we're going to add up all of our points together and divide it by 4. Okay, so if you want to, you can pause me and do that on your own first. Okay, and that's going to give us an average of 125,000. Okay, so that is the average weekly sales. So that's our little lesson together. I wanted to show you some examples of line graphs in real life because we actually use line graphs all the time in real life, depending on what you're doing or what you're interested in. You can see them everywhere. Okay, so for an example here, this is a stock market. So this is a stock called the Standard & Poor, and it's showing its value over time. So you'll notice the value is each year on the bottom, and then it's going up by the log scale. So this is its value just as a stock, and it's going up by, actually it's exponential. So it's 10 and then 100 and 1,000 and 10,000. So it has increased a lot over the years. Okay, but we can see our nice little line. Okay, let's look at one that has a good scale. This is the 14-day weather forecast. And this line graph, sorry, it's hard to see because of the gray, but actually has two lines on it because it's giving us the value of the high of the day, which is this very tiny yellow line, and the low of the day. Okay? So we see that our temperature is going up by 2 degrees, and it actually drops to -2, just in case. So it looks like on Sunday we dropped down a little bit. So our scale goes down as far as -2, and it's going up by 2s, and then it's each day of the week for the next 14 days. And you can see our key for the line graph. We see our daytime high, our nighttime low, and we actually have a third spot, and this is just a straight dotted line that you can see here. And that's giving us the average historically. So in previous years, they've gathered all the data and formed an average for this time of year. And this is the average high. It looks like about 13 degrees. And the average low is 4 degrees. Okay, so you can see how we fit with that. Our average low is a little bit higher, or sorry, our weekly nightly lows are a bit higher than average, but our daily temperatures over the next 2 weeks are pretty average. They actually follow the line pretty well. Okay, so there's a closer look. Okay. As always, we need to be paying attention to our scale, right? So we understand the difference in value. Okay, so that's weather. You'll see that all the time, of course, as we check the weather. Okay, here's another one. This is a cool one. This is telling us our population growth rate. Okay, so the population of Canada, this is telling us how much it's growing each year. Okay, and the value is actually a percentage. Okay, so this isn't the actual number of people in Canada. This is just how much we are either growing or not growing. Okay, so the numbers are actually quite small. The values are small because they are percentages, right? And so we don't grow a ton each year, but you can see these are years on the bottom. And it starts at 1998 and it goes all the way to 2018. And our percentages are going up by 0.2, okay? So the value is very small. Okay, so that's our scale. So you can see that generally we grow, but sometimes we have times where we are not growing. We're actually decreasing our percent growth. So that means our population is going down. And that looks like it was in 2015. We lost a little bit of population there. Okay, so we can look at population trends over time using line graphs. Okay, and the last one I want to show you, and this one's all zigzaggy because it changes a lot. So there's actually probably a lot of points in between all of these times, but you notice the scale is pretty big. It's a 10-year scale on the bottom, and then our scale here is pretty small because this is the value of the Canadian dollar compared to the American dollar, okay? So how much our dollar is worth compared to the States. So historically, and you can see the scale here is the number of US dollars per Canadian dollar. So that's giving us the rate, which is another unit, okay? And our scale is about 10 cents difference, okay? So you can see that we've hovered about even with them. This is the $1 mark. So this would be if it was the exact same between Canadian and American. Okay, this is when we've been worth less than them. Okay, so we've spent times being not worth a lot. But you'll notice the scale only goes down to 0.60. Okay, so it's not 0 down here. It doesn't start at 0. It starts at 0.60. Okay, so we've not dropped below being 60 cents to the dollar. Okay. But this is something else that you might want to be keeping track of in your life, right? So those are just some more examples of line graphs. And now I'm going to send you on your way to do your own. Okay, so your work for today is exercise 36. Okay, enjoy.